Alright, what's going on, you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Stock Talk, series I make whenever I feel it's necessary, where we cover some exciting news and price action in regard to some of the stocks we've been talking about on the channel. In today's case, you guys already know the deal. We have to cover some COVID-related biotech stocks. Wild times in the sector. A lot of crazy news, a lot of crazy price action, definitely a lot more red than green on the board right now. So I'm excited to give you guys my take on this. I actually recorded one of these covering this sector last night. I was going to do a back-to-back, 2 videos in a night, and I accidentally deleted it instead of the one that I had already posted. I was super bummed at the time, but it actually paid off because my perspective has completely changed just overnight. Okay, so that's how crazy the sector is right now, you guys. Again, I always say this: you have to embrace volatility in stocks like this. Volatility is 100% to be expected when you're dealing with such crazy movement in such a revolutionary sector. So again, you guys, do your best to embrace volatility, accept the red days. That's what that other video was talking about, how I personally embrace and view red days. So check that out if you're hurting as well. Right here, I'm right here along with you, trust me. So again, I'm excited to give you guys my take on this sector. Over the course of this video, we will take a look at all the charts on TradingView. I'll give you guys my technical perspective of these. So Moderna, Sorrento, Inovio, Novavax, and Vaxart. I do want to preface this video by saying that I'm currently only playing Moderna and Sorrento right now. These are the only two companies. Moderna is my vaccine play, Sorrento's treatment test kit play. Okay, these are the two that I've narrowed it down to over the course of these past few months. Again, we've seen a lot of gains with these other stocks, and again, they're still very up on over the course of the past few months, but I've narrowed it down at this point. Moderna has sealed itself as the leader within the space in my eyes. That could not 100% not be correct. Remember that, you guys. But in my view, in my perspective, Moderna is the leader within the vaccine space, and Sorrento has sealed themselves as a leader within the biotech, or within the treatment and test kit space. Okay, so as always, we will go over each topic that we're going to be discussing, and then we'll dive into each one individually. Again, we will look at all these on the charts. We do have a few pieces of news, primarily in regard to Moderna, and general news about Russia that I'm sure you guys have heard already that definitely had an impact on the entire sector. Okay, so this one, Trump says U.S. has reached deal with Moderna for 100 million doses of vaccine. So crazy news. This came out yesterday after hours. That's why I did want to make that kind of breaking news style video. So huge news for Moderna. Unfortunately, they just saw some flat price action today. So this is what that covers. Okay, so this kind of rationalizes, at least in this author's perspective, as to why Moderna saw some flat price action. This is very likely what it was, but we will cover this too. And then again, onto the Russian claim. Putin making claims that that Russia has a COVID vaccine. This is an absolutely wild claim. Anyone who believes this, and he says his daughter has taken it, patient zero for this vaccine is his daughter. I mean, I'm gonna have to call BS on that one. Could be true. I'm not completely discounting it, but I'm definitely calling BS on that one personally. We'll cover that, and then we will also cover, very obviously, some scientists from around the world. Skepticism in regard to what Putin claims is an effective virus. Okay. So, as always, before we do get into it, I will ask you guys to please give the video a like if you do go on to gain value from it, or if you're invested in any of the stocks we're talking about today. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and check out my complete portfolio and daily newsletter. First link in the description if you're interested in my exact trades in regard to these stocks. All right, so again, always have to settle the fundamentals prior to the technicals. You guys know the deal. So let's kick it off with these two articles, and then we'll get into Moderna. All right, so Trump says U.S. has reached deal with Moderna for 100 million doses of coronavirus vaccine. We're not going to read the entire article. We will just read these key points on all of these. I always recommend you guys go do more research on top of this. I'm just trying to get the gist of this to you guys, and then we'll look at the technicals. Okay, so key points. President Donald Trump on Tuesday announced the U.S. government will purchase 100 million doses of Moderna's experimental coronavirus vaccine. Moderna separately said the deal for its vaccine is worth $1.5 billion and will give the federal government the option to purchase up to 400 million additional doses. So that's huge. Okay, Moderna doesn't only sell stock options. That's not the only thing we're playing around here. They're selling options of more vaccines. Okay, so that's good. Just the option to sell more vaccine and just having that line of contact with the U.S. government is huge in my eyes. Okay, so the U.S. government's deal with Moderna follows similar agreements it's made with pharmaceutical giants Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, and other drug makers for their potential COVID-19 vaccines. So remember, you guys, these are just deals. These aren't this isn't cash in hand yet, but these are deals that they've come to in the case that these vaccines are efficacious and do work. Okay, so that's a very important thing to keep in mind. Again, Moderna yesterday after hours, you see this little price spike right here, was up 10% after hours. So up a lot last night. Everyone, I guarantee everyone holding Moderna or not was like, this thing's gonna kill it tomorrow. and it did not. So it went flat today. It was up. It ended the day up 0.8%, which is pretty good compared to the rest of this sector if you're just looking at the watch list here. But let's go into why that happened. Okay, so Moderna stock rally fades as analysts weigh in on what U.S. government supply deal means for COVID-19 vaccine pricing. All right, always say this. Analysts, you guys, analysts are just people too. Obviously, it is their job to analyze stocks. That's why they're analysts. And I think a lot of them are very competent, and you should put weight on their words. But always remember, analysts do have their biases, and that's just always something to keep in mind. I do as well. I'm obviously more bullish on Moderna than these analysts, and that's okay. But just remember, you guys, analysts never put a whole lot of weight on what analysts say, although a lot of people do, which does move the market. So, and that's what we saw today. So I'm going to move down here. I want to read you guys a few paragraphs, just these three, or just these four right here. Then we'll get into the charts. The rally in Moderna shares sparked by news late Tuesday that the U.S. government had ordered 100 million doses of its COVID vaccine candidate dissipated on Wednesday, as analysts weighed in on what the order means for pricing. Moderna is widely viewed as a front runner in the race to develop a COVID-19 vaccine. I agree. I think it is, as it is currently enrolling patients for a phase 3 trial after phase 1 trial produced neutralizing antibodies, thought to be a key benchmark for an effective coronavirus vaccine in all 45 participants. The government agreed to pay the biotech $1.5 billion, including incentive payments, and has an option to purchase an additional 400 million doses of the vaccine. That brings the government's total commitment to Moderna to $2.5 billion, or $15.50 a dose. All right, so this is the important part. This is what people are skeptical on, is the pricing in regard to that deal. All right, so SVB analysts said that is materially below their model of $22 a dose and below the implied price in the supply agreement that Pfizer and its partner BioNTech have with the government of $19.50 a dose. Okay, so this is important to keep in mind that, again, none of this is this is an agreement, so this is set in stone in a sense if they do come up with the vaccine. But I personally, and again, you guys remember that none of this could play out as I'm saying. I personally think Moderna is in the lead. I think they will develop this vaccine first. I think it is highly likely, just based on everything we followed over the past few months. I think Moderna is going to win the race, and obviously when they do that, the U.S. is probably going to be willing to, again, you see that incentive structure. They're probably going to be willing to work with them and help them make as many of those as possible at whatever cost. We're printing trillions of dollars, doesn't make a dent if we have an effective vaccine. Okay, so an effective vaccine is number one priority. Maybe not so much at this point right now, but I mean, it's still the coronavirus. It caused so much economic pain. It's still one of the number one enemies in the entire world right now. Everyone agrees with that across the globe. So an effective vaccine will be the biggest news on the planet when it is reached. Okay, so that all said, I'm super fundamentally bullish on Moderna, if you guys couldn't tell at this point, but I'm also technically bullish on it, and I'll explain why. So we're looking at Moderna here on a 4-hour chart. Okay, so 4 hours, just a little technical tip, 4 hours on longer term time frames is my preferred, kind of like medium to long term, not super long term, but medium to long term time frames, time horizons is my preferred hourly just time frame to look at is 4 hours. Okay, so I like 4-hour candles, and I do think that you can a lot of the time see nice trend directions with the 4 hours. So just a little note there. But again, you see this, Moderna is just dancing so tightly along this lower line of support that it is held pretty multiple times over the course of the past few months, since way back in March when we started covering it. Okay, you guys, and I've had these lines drawn for so long. I still think they're in play. Again, you guys, not getting super technical in this for any of you who might be newer. I found the most effective thing in this current market environment, especially over the course of this relief rally since the bottom in March. Just general trend lines have come in handy so much and been so effective. Okay, so again, I'm still fundamentally bullish on Moderna. From a technical perspective, I can't imagine them dropping significantly below this line of support. Just considering so much good news is coming out. Again, they are a large company. They're currently sitting at a market cap of, $27 billion. So significantly larger than a lot of these other players, significantly smaller than like Johnson & Johnson and Pfizer and stuff. So keep that in mind. That's an important thing to remember. And again, I'm just super fundamentally bullish on them. You look at RSI is super low. Let's move my fat head quick so you guys can see where exactly the RSI. So RSI is at like 35. That is underbought. That is oversold, I should say. I'm sorry. So that's definitely oversold. Moderna, again, on a 4-hourly candle, which I definitely use a lot for mid to long-term time horizons, is saying it's oversold. You see stochastics right here, which is super, super bullish. You see the stochastics starting to curl up. That is usually a good sign, okay? The stochastics just starting to curl up, and it does look like it wants to make another move up, okay? And again, you guys, this is the same trend. It's been following this general up and down. You get great news, the bubble pops, you get capitulation. The sideways movement is just strength in my mind. And again, it weeds out the weak. I said this in yesterday's video. Like, corrections like this are healthy because it weeds out the weak and leaves room for more legitimate bullish long-term investors, okay? Which is what, I'm not going to say I'm super long-term on Moderna, but I'm definitely medium to long-term bullish, okay? So from what I think is going to happen in the future. So I'm pretty confident, my money's on this, understand that, guys, that over the course of the next week or so, we will come up. Again, you guys remember, none of this could happen. None of this could play out as I'm saying. And I know you guys know that, but I have to keep repeating that. I expect it to come and use this center line of what has been both support and resistance, because this is just basically the middle of this uptrend. So Moderna is definitely still in an uptrend, in a technical uptrend, and I do expect it to once again come up and test, definitely test this line of what was support and resistance, which would bring it to a new all-time high if it does come up to test this, say on like August 25th, over the course of the coming weeks. So August 25th at the latest would bring it to $95 to $100. Again, you guys, as these expand out, as these upward trend lines expand out, the price gets higher depending on where they hit, okay? So I do expect it to come up and test this middle line at the very least over the coming weeks. And then once they do drop, which I do believe they will, good news of their phase 3s, of their trial data, I think we will definitely once again come up and retest this absolute top trend line, line of resistance that, again, it just followed. That's a very absolute top trend line. Okay, so I think if that happens, it will come up to reach the $130, $140 region. I don't think that's at all out of the possibility. Moderna's at $70 right now. 140 would be a 2x from here. That would put them at just over a $50 billion market cap. If they have a coronavirus vaccine, that makes perfect sense to me. A $50 billion market cap for an effective vaccine, I can justify that in my mind. Plus, there's going to be so much damn hype around it. You guys know this market right now, full of so many shiny objects, so much retail interest, that if that news comes out, this thing's blowing up. So at the very least, I still think, even with no news, it can come up and retest like the $95 region. And then if great news does drop over the coming months, I think we will come up to retest anywhere like 140 to 150, okay? So that's Moderna. Let's move on to Sorrento and then move on to Let's just move on to Sorrento, okay? So again, these claims have made such an impact on this sector, as you guys can remember. So we will go over these quickly, and then, yeah, we'll get into... I really just want to reiterate, you guys, I'm only playing these two. I'm only fundamentally bullish on these two. The rest of these, I'm just not bullish on anymore. But we will, nonetheless, we will look at the charts. I'll let you guys know what I'm thinking, but I just want to reiterate that. Okay, so let's look at these. These are crazy claims. Okay, so Putin claims Russia has registered the world's first coronavirus vaccine, says his daughter has taken it. So again, very wild claim. I would not put my money on the fact that his daughter actually did take it, but who am I to say? So key points, again, we'll just read through these key points. Shout out to CNBC for all these articles. I love just these key points. Clinical trials of the Russian vaccine have been completed in less than 2 months. That's a little quick. And phase 3 trials are set to begin shortly, despite the vaccine having already been registered. Putin also reportedly said that one of his daughters has been vaccinated against the coronavirus, commenting in the sense she took part in the experiment. Okay. So that makes me just dislike Putin, just because why say that? Why not say he took it, okay? You kind of just look like a puss if you're saying your daughter took it, okay? So if he's feeding it to his daughter, but he's not taking it himself, that's not cool, okay? So that in itself makes me just kind of disrespect the guy on top of just him being, you know, a communist dictator. Again, man's man. A lot of Russians like him, so I'll give him that much. But I just don't like how he approached this. This is a weak approach in my mind, and this is pretty whack, and it has been questioned. So we will get to, scientists worry whether Russia's Sputnik 5, such a Russian name for a vaccine. Coronavirus vaccine is safe and effective. I don't want to be, I hope I'm not offending any of my Russian family out there. I'm just mad at Putin. I'm not even mad at him. I'm just kind of goofing him just because this is kind of a goofy situation. But all love to my Russian family out there, if there's any of you out there. Okay, so key points: scientists are skeptical about Putin's claims on Russia's potential COVID-19 vaccine, saying the vaccine still needs critical data to determine whether it's safe and effective. Obviously, developing, testing, and reviewing any potential vaccine is a long, complex, and expensive endeavor that typically takes months or even years. Phase 3 trials are critical for vaccine development. Says this very competent and accomplished guy who you should listen to when he says this. Okay, so I'm not going to read that. But again, you guys, we know this. We've been following this sector for so long. It takes time. This is not an easy endeavor. This usually takes years and years to develop vaccines. Vaccines in the past, like sometimes they don't even come about. Like sometimes they don't even happen. Like there's a lot of vaccines that we still don't have that people have been working on for years, which is something that you always have to keep in mind. And this is probably the fastest we've ever dealt with actually going through the trials, and it factually has with Operation Warp Speed and stuff. Okay, so this news, nonetheless, regardless if it's valid or not, which I definitely don't think it is. I don't put any weight on that, but the market did, and the entire sector, both yesterday and today, saw a lot of red. So these things are correcting super significantly. Sorrento here, if you guys watch the Sorrento analysis, it went even beyond the correction that I thought would happen, and it kind of is almost playing out the head and shoulders. So I'll let you guys know what I'm seeing here. Here, wait, let's get rid of this guy. Remove that. I still think this will come into play, and we'll actually go on some shorter time horizons, shorter time frame for this. Okay, so Sorrento at its very low today, huge correction. Look at all that selling volume. So that's a lot of weak hands in my mind. It's just a lot of panic selling. And again, weeding out the weak. I see even Moderna. I was super stoked to see Moderna pull back today because I just picked up a whole bunch more. Same as Sorrento. Sorrento today, I bought more. In the same way if I'm bullish on something, I'll dollar cost on the way up. I'll do the same exact thing. Like on pullbacks like this, it doesn't matter that I bought some yesterday as well. I'll just buy more today, and if it pulls back tomorrow, I'll buy more tomorrow too, because I'm medium to long-term bullish on Sorrento, and I'm holding it. I'm planning on holding it for weeks, multiple weeks to multiple months, maybe, depending on how it plays out. Okay, so red days. These red days are just a good buying opportunity in my eyes if you are medium to long-term bullish on it, and that is what I did. Okay, so Sorrento pulled back down to 1050 this morning, so super significant correction on the day. It did end the day down 12%. I believe it is down a little bit after hours too, but what is good to me is that it bounced perfectly off this previous high that it set at the very end of July. So this high where it gapped up from 850 up to 1050, so huge gap up. If you guys remember that really set off this recent bull rally. It did gap up. That was a huge price jump, and it corrected perfectly. That's exactly where it bounced off this morning, is right where it gapped up and set that high on July 31st. Okay, so that's good to me. That just anytime, this works with all assets, all stocks that you're ever trading. A lot of times when you see crazy bubble rallies like this, they will go back to correct and bounce off and use their first high, the initial high that set off the rally, as a point of support. Okay, so it would personally surprise me a lot to see it go definitely below 1050. It's currently at 1240, so that would be another significant move down. But again, if it does come down to 1050, I'm buying more. I don't think it's going to come below this level, especially with just all the fundamental strength behind Sorrento in my eyes. So again, test kit doing well, treatment doing well. They're making progress. They're making tangible progress. No news as of the past couple of days. That's why I'm not covering it. But just again, we've been following these for months. I just have a good vibe about Sorrento. My instinct is telling me that Sorrento is definitely going to see another move up. And again, you guys, we saw a crazy move up. So Sorrento is still above the point where it was pretty significantly just back at the end of July. So I know time can go very slow when you are, because this seems like forever ago, but just remember, you guys, this is a long game we're playing. If you're bullish, just keep your hands strong and just keep your eyes on the prize. All right. So I think when we move up, we probably will see a little bit of resistance just because there was so much here at this $14 level. It has been using this $14 mark as support and resistance a lot. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it float around the $14 mark for a little bit. And then I think as it moves up, as the bulls kind of come back, the market favors the bulls once again. I wouldn't be surprised to see it use this trend line right here that it was using from August 5th to August 7th. Before that huge move up, which was obviously a bubble, this is a more sound trend line in my mind, and I would be happy to see it start using this as a line of resistance until it breaks out, uses its support, and then continues to break up, which I think it will, and ultimately we will reach that big. Where is it? Where's that top line? That big $27 mark, which is a lot of analyst estimates. This is the line that I've had drawn here for at least a month now. So I think it will come up at some point in the coming weeks, months. Obviously, news will likely be the catalyst for that big move up. But I think eventually it could easily reach $27 per share. Market cap today is now at $3 billion. So it did see a significant correction over the past couple of days. Again, you guys embrace the volatility. This happens. Just you gotta live with it, and just again, keep your hands strong, keep your eyes on the prize if you're bullish. Okay, so Inovio, I honestly haven't looked at this in a while, just because I haven't been playing it too much. So let's just get rid of all these lines. I just want to look at this from kind of with clean eyes. All right, so we'll just leave that there. Let's definitely not go to the weekly because that looks too nuts. So we'll go to just the daily time frames. All right, so Inovio is looking just very bad right now. Inovio looks like a bubble. Again, you guys remember, these are very bubbly stocks. I've played a lot of bubbles in my day. That's kind of how I got my start trading, was cryptocurrency 2017, cannabis 2018. This is arguably a bubble right now. There's so many bubbles in the market right now. The entire market's arguably a bubble at this moment. But you just have to remember, like, this, you guys, sadly looks like a bubble that has popped. And Inovio, again, obviously, if any of these companies release very good news in regard to their vaccine production, then they could see a significant move up. That's always possible. But Inovio, just from a technical perspective, is looking super bad right now. Like it was reassuring when it was bouncing off this area, because these two highs right here that it set in April and May would have been like the perfect line, and it definitely took this into account. That's actually where it gapped down on Monday on Monday, and I mean, it did use that, but it just keeps going down, and Inovio is definitely not looking good from a technical perspective. I have nothing technically to say for bullish for Inovio right now, which is why I'm not playing it. So remember that, you guys. I wish I could give you guys some good news if you are invested, but it's not looking good. So Novavax finally broke. Oh, so you can see how strong. I actually want to zoom in here because this speaks to these trends. Okay, so Novavax, you can see how strong this upward trend was. Okay, so again, we've had this drawn for a long time now. It has been following this textbook uptrend pattern, and almost like immediately once it broke out of this, it tanked. So you can see once it broke that trend, once it broke that lower line of support, it crashed down to like 140 from like 165. So super significant correction, bounced up once again, used that line that was support as resistance, and then just came crashing down. Okay, and obviously that is a factor of just the entire this entire sector doing bad, and this news regarding Russia. So just keep that in mind, you guys. But when something happens, it's always the fundamentals. It's always the news that is the catalyst for a sudden spike, a price spike, and then the technicals take over from that point. That is what I've observed in this market. Fundamentals catalyze the initial movement, but then the technicals take over from there. Okay, so Novavax, just looking at this with just from a general perspective, it wouldn't be surprising. So it's currently bouncing in this region where it gapped up back in mid-July. You see this gap up here. That did lead, I mean, it's all just been part of this uptrend, though. I wouldn't be surprised to see Novavax, if we zoom out here, to come up and revisit maybe like from the $90 to $100 region. And I know that is a significant pullback from here, even being at 124. But again, you guys, when bubbles pop, they pop, and this entire sector has been very bubbly. And because I'm convinced that Moderna, it's either Moderna or Pfizer is going to take the cake, and we've been talking about this from the beginning. Once one company establishes an efficacious, effective vaccine, then it's likely that all the other players will see a lot of red, at least for the near term. Okay, so I am bearish on Inovio, Novavax, Vaxart. They did pop yesterday, and this is kind of what I talked about in the stock talk yesterday. Sorry, I'm kind of forgetting because I recorded something similar to this yesterday where I'm overlapping, but I'm worried we will see a full head and shoulders play out in Vaxart. So Vaxart saw a little pop yesterday on some good news. I didn't think the news was even that good. I definitely don't think it warranted that move up. So I think what we're seeing here is a pretty textbook head and shoulders. You see left shoulder right here. You see the head, right jaw, and then you see that sideways price action almost exactly playing out the same. So you see a spike up and then an initial crash down, and we'll probably see the full head and shoulders play out. And I would expect Vaxart to come back down to about the $5 region. So that's a full like 50% retracement. All right. That could very well not happen. Remember that, you guys. It could technically be using this as just a lower, or as a higher low. So this low I would count as about like 750. This low is more around like the 850 mark. So it is technically a higher low, and it could just kind of continue an uptrend from here. I just don't think that's likely, you guys, just because as we near closer to these final so we're kind of like in the home stretch, okay? So as we near closer to a proven vaccine, then I think these guys are just slowly going to lose steam and kind of fizzle out and lose attention, lose investor sentiment, okay? So again, I am sorry if you guys are invested in these. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. I'm sure you guys already had that gut feeling, but that's just what I think. Remember, you guys, not financial or investment advice. This is just what I'm thinking. Maybe these could all see green. These could all very well bounce because these have seen so much red. But I think at best it would just be a bounce. And again, except for Moderna and Sorrento, which are the two plays that I'm fundamentally bullish on. And the fundamentals will always override the technicals in my mind. Okay, so again, Moderna, Sorrento, I'm bullish on them. These guys not so much, but they could see a bounce. If you are invested, I hope for a bounce for you. But again, we're nearing the end game right here, you guys. Okay, so I'm excited, very exciting time still. Excited to keep you guys posted. Again, you guys, like I was saying, time goes so slow in this sector. It feels like so much time has gone by when actually it hasn't, but that's just because it's so exciting. And volatility, although it hurts when it's red, is exciting at the same time. It keeps you alive in this market. Okay, so embrace the volatility, embrace the red days, learn from them, and just be thankful. Stay humble on the green days. Okay, so we'll call it there, guys. Again, if you guys do want to know exactly how I'm trading these positions, these stocks personally, then you guys can check out the Complete Portfolio daily newsletter. First link in the description, exactly as it states. All calls, all put options, all stock positions, all cryptocurrencies if you're into it. And along with that, I do send out an email newsletter every day, every trading day that is during market hours, talking about the trades I made that day, rationalizing my thoughts, and just giving you guys more real-time updates on the markets overall. All right, so I appreciate it if you do check that out. If not, no worries at all. And as always, let me know, you guys, what you're thinking in regard to the sector. I'm sure a lot of you have a lot of opinions, and a lot of you are seeing a lot of red. Hopefully that changes, and I do think it will change. Again, you guys, I'll say this as many times as I want to. Embrace the volatility. The red days happen. It's just a part of the game, and it builds character, it builds thick skin, and that's something that's very necessary for longevity in this game. All right, so look forward to talking to you guys downstairs, and until next time, you guys, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace.